Hello and welcome to another episode of the Anime Lounge Short Flights. I'm your host Lance here to talk about episode 7 of Ragna Crimson. And if you follow me to this point, you guys already know that I'm reading the manga along with every episode. And today's episode covers chapters 13, 14, and 15. 14 was super short. It was literally just the backstory of when they were with future Ragna and how he was getting the blood injected into him, which is a very, very important scene. And that's why everything makes sense in the end. And if you were like me and you kind of just accepted it at face value and didn't really understand why, well, I'm going to share that with you. So, Future Ragna rejected the dragon's blood, and he did that by killing himself with the sword. And everything would have been fine if Crimson didn't come and want to revive him. So the blood's already in his system, and Crimson revived him, so he still has all this dragon blood in him. And I can't wait to hear that he's gonna be as strong as he is in even a brighter light because of this blood itself. But because the blood is in him and he was revived, that's why he was able to move in the time stopping ability from Ultimatia. That was because Ultimatia, she lets other dragons move around. She did make the mention that she lets three other dragons in the area move. That was the armed dragon, Nephilim, and the king. Yeah, the king's not a dragon, but the three other people move around. But the dragons were kind of more of a oversight because any of the dragons can move. So that's why Ragna can move because he still has it in him. I don't know if they're going to explain anything where he needs to like further unlock more abilities out of this blood or anything like that. Or I would love to see Ragna kind of have some kind of like dragon transformation because all the other dragons were once human and they can, have their own dragon form. So I would love to see that. I'm kind of going to expect that at this point. So yeah, that's really the biggest takeaway. Ragna was able to break free because he still has dragon blood in him. So this episode was awesome. That's so much battle scenes. Ragna is such a relentless badass. He's just beating up Ultimatia like crazy. She's exploding, coming back to life slowly, regenerating so many times. I thought for sure he was just gonna run her dry, and he basically was until she pulled her trump card, and he was able to rewind time by I don't know, let's just say like it was like a half hour or so, all the way back to that head meeting thing that the town was putting on the presentation that they're safe under the behind these walls because they can kill dragons. And that's I was really nervous about that too because I didn't want it to turn into another like kind of anime where they're just going to repeat a whole nother episode and that was going to be like the end of that episode and then there's just just repeating a bunch of stuff. So I'm glad that different things were taken and they were able to just continue a story in a different route. Crimson is very interesting now. She was able to stop that super powerful beam that the king launched at Ragna. If this beam was supposed to be strong enough to kill Ragna, who could only take damage from this beam, but Crimson was able to knock it away like nobody's business. I can't wait to. I just need to see more out of Crimson. And she appeared. I'm still not entirely sure if this is a he or a she, but every time they refer to Crimson, they always say he. So Crimson appears in a different form again, this time with like blonde, white hair or whatever, and got Chimera with him. And Golem's off in the distance. Golem's being a little interesting too. We learned that he's got different bodies. We saw in the flashback with future Ragna that he was in a whole different body, like totally different person. And he made mention that this current body that he has isn't suitable for combat, but he was still able to pull off some big ass gun and shoot off the dragon head, the arm dragon. So that was pretty cool. I was happy to see that. But let's go back to the other dragon, Nephilim. So he was pretty interesting. He was stabbed in the end of the last episode and he like crystallized and we thought he was dead. He didn't actually die. And I don't know if the anime was fast about it or if it's just something that was in the manga, but from what I caught in the manga was Nephilim was able to live because just as he was getting stabbed, he put up a barrier to protect himself. And normally that healing barrier, it was a healing barrier, by the way, sorry. Normally that healing barrier would be effective really quick, but because Ragna's aura was so strong, his barrier was working super slow. So that's why it appeared that he was dead, and it took him a while to come back into action. So there's some information on that. And then what was cool about Nephilim, he turned into a dragon and he started beating the crap out of Ragna when Ultimatia time stopped everything. So that was pretty cool. I always like a good dragon scene, so it's nice to see that not everybody's going to be in their human form at all times. And it was really cool that even though time was stopped, Ragna was like bleeding, but he was bleeding his silver stuff. So like Nephilim's hand was all burny. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I guess I guess I should have said this earlier. The manga and the anime super close, almost no differences. One difference that I did pull is when Crimson was getting super mad at Ragna for starting the fight to begin with. She's sitting there having a moment in front of Golem and saying, oh, what an idiot, I don't know, I don't remember what the anime quite said, but in the manga, she was dropping the F bomb like nobody's business. She was saying, well, I'm not going to, you guys know what I mean, but like a couple of panels of pure F words. And it was actually kind of funny. I took a picture of that and sent it to Matt because I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, that's pretty much this whole episode in a nutshell. A lot of fun action. This pure action, really. So I had a lot of fun watching this. What do you guys think? So I can't wait for next episode. We're episode 7. We're over halfway through the series, I think, and it's still just so good. So I'll see you guys next week.